Guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan, and today we need to talk about a huge story right now with the 2023 NHL Draft, with both Adam Fantilli and Leo Carlsson putting up historic numbers and probably having better draft year seasons right now than Conor Bedard. Now, there's a lot that goes into this, and so far with the first month of the season for a lot of these 2023 players, we've seen so many stories already, but Carlsson and Fantilli have been more than special. They have been absolutely unbelievable. So how good have they been? What have they done in their draft year season so far? How does it compare to Conor Bedard? And what happens next with the 2023 draft? Where could they go? Watch till the end for the full prospect analysis and hit that subscribe button if you guys are new. 50% of you guys aren't subscribed. So if you like hockey content, this channel is the place to be. Now, of course, when talking about the 2023 NHL Draft, the top end of the draft with Conor Bedard is really the most locked in right now. I don't think anybody's touching him until we see, again, the production of some of the other prospects that we've seen. But, of course, with Conor Bedard being a July birthday at 17, at 5'10", he has done very solid so far this year in 12 games, getting 10 goals, 11 assists for 21 points. And he's on pace right now for 119 points in 68 WHL games, which, considering how physical and how much more defensive the WHL is than any other CHL league, is extremely impressive. And the thing is, too, I feel like when it comes to Conor Bedard specifically, his teammates around him aren't anything to write home about. In fact, at some points, it's a detriment to his production. There's been tons of games and tons of moments so far this year where Conor Bedard will make an amazing pass or will get an amazing position, yet his teammates aren't able to create the right chances around him. And to me, that's been a huge problem with the production, just specifically, is that to me, if he had just a solid team around him, I think he could be even in the 25 points level right now, and I feel like he would have a much better statistical profile than he has already. It's still very, very good for a WHL eligible, but I feel like it would look even more generational, which to me is what Conor Bedard is. And when we look at the Regina Pats scoring and we look at the top end of things, of course, Conor Bedard is first overall, 21 points in 12 games played. The next closest one is Tanner Howe, who has 6 goals, 9 assists in 15 points, but those are the only 2 players on the team that are above a point per game. You got Borje Valis, you got Alexander Sudzalev, a Capitals prospect, but really this entire offensive group is just awful around Conor Bedard. You have, of course, that generational player and that amazing scoring, and you only have really one other player that's kind of carrying the load on top of him. And especially in Bedard's case, it's hard to carry your team that much, and especially what we've seen with Regina, it makes sense why his stats wouldn't be even higher. Again, they're still really, really good, but compared to maybe a couple other prospects who we're going to mention, it might not be as generational per se. And especially in the games that I've seen of Bedard so far, he has looked amazing and hasn't skipped a beat whatsoever. And again, I think there is a great reason to believe that if he had a much better team, then that production would be even higher. And to me, I think Bedard has been perfectly amazing so far this year. But compared to 2 other draft eligibles, there is a case to be made that Bedard is having maybe the 3rd best season overall, or at least the 3rd best production and most impressive production out of the draft in 2023. And that is because both Adam Fantilli and Leo Carlsson have been doing things that we have not seen in their respective leagues almost ever. And for both of them have been putting up unreal numbers and never before seen numbers. Now, the first one we're going to spotlight here is Adam Fantilli, who we made a video about a month ago talking about him potentially getting in that 2nd overall spot ahead of Matvei Michkov. And I'm not even going to mention Matvei Michkov in this video because even though he's been okay so far this year compared to some other guys, at least compared to the top 3 right now of Bedard, Fantilli, and Carlsson in terms of great production, he has just not been there, and especially not playing in the KHL, I think, is a huge reason for that. But you see with Adam Fantilli at 6'2", we had the question of if he would challenge for that 2nd overall spot, and I think he's done a pretty good job. You look at his 2022 season playing with Chicago, he was unbelievable, 74 points in 54 USHL games. That would be unreal for a draft eligible player, but that was in his that was before he was even in his draft year. And of course, he's playing at the University of Michigan, and so far in 5 games has 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points. And of course, in team scoring for the University of Michigan, it's been far and away Adam Fantilli doing amazingly. And he's also on a team that has Mackie Simaskevich, a former first-round pick by the Panthers, Dylan Duke, Rucker McGrody, a top 20 pick by the Jets, Jacob Truscott, Seamus Casey, Luke Hughes. So many amazing offensive weapons. And although that definitely helps him, it also makes it more impressive what he's doing. To be already better production-wise than those players, and already, I would say, look better than all these guys, is extremely impressive. But also to put the nail in the coffin for just how good, is that the right analogy? Anyways, to give you an idea of just how good Fantilli has been, let's go on to arguably the best NCAA draft year season of all time in Jack Eichel. Back in 2015, in 40 games with Boston University, had 26 goals, 45 assists for 71 points. And if we look at the point per game, we have, of course, Adam Fantilli leading the entire NCAA in points per game, which is unbelievable, with 5 games played and a 2.20 points per game, which is unbelievable. And when we look at Jack Eichel's NCAA draft year season, he had a 1.78 point per game. It was still amazing and unheard of, but what Adam Fantilli is doing is better than that. And of course, Jack Eichel was the runner-up and a pretty close competitor to Connor McDavid, who is the best player in the NHL and is going to have a case to be the best NHL player in history when it's all said and done. That's how good Jack Eichel was and still is to this point, and especially when you consider just how solid Fantilli has been in all 5 games. If he's going to be around a 1.70 points per game, a 1.80, if he gets above Jack Eichel, there's going to be people saying Fantilli should go first overall. And in terms of production, it's unheard of to see what Fantilli has done. Now, if you thought Fantilli and what he's doing is impressive, now let's go on to Leo Carlsson, one of my favorite prospects coming into the year and continues to show why. At 17 years old, 6'3" as a center and winger, Leo Carlsson, if you thought what Fantilli was doing was underrated, Leo Carlsson is literally having the best SHL season of any draft-eligible player ever. Or draft year player ever. That is how good Leo Carlsson has been. For Orbro, in 12 games in the SHL, has 2 goals, 8 assists, 10 points, and he didn't get a point in his last game. He was up to 10 points in 11 games in his draft year in the SHL, and that's after putting up 9 points in 35 SHL games last year, looking incredible doing so. But you look at just how good the profile is with Leo Carlsson, and you also look at the team scoring. He is first in team scoring in the SHL as a 17-year-old. You got Robert Leno at 9 points in 12 games, and you go down the list. I mean, you got the Canucks draft prospect, even though he is a defenseman. You got Elias Pettersson with a 1 assist in 12 games, and you see Leo Carlsson up there among the best. And also looking at the actual scoring, he is 20th in point per game. But if you erase the 3 guys with 1 game to their name, he'd be up there at 17, 16. He'd be around that range among the best SHL producers at 17 years old. And what makes it even more impressive is that this right now is the best point per game for any SHL player ever. The best was Daniel Sedin, and you look at his season all the way back, and I mean, looking at Daniel Sedin, obviously turned out to be a pretty decent player, but second overall by the Canucks, and in his draft year in 1999, he got 42 points, 50 games played, looked great in the playoffs, but you look at his statistics, he was 18th in SHL scoring in his draft year, and he put up a .084 points per game. And you look at, of course, Leo Carlsson right below that, and there's a case to be made that it's even more impressive now with how much the competition is in the SHL and just how hard of a league it is to score. But Leo Carlsson has been doing unbelievable generational things in the SHL, and on top, Adam Fantilli doing the same in the NCAA. Again, I feel like there's a strong case to be made that both Fantilli and Carlsson are having the best production seasons, arguably the best seasons in the draft class this year. Now, I think it does show just how talented Conor Bedard is, that to me at least, there's not much debate over who should go first overall, but to me, when it comes to the actual draft class itself, for players like Matvei Michkov, I have no doubt that he is going to be a player that slips to at least 4th in this draft. You compare, I mean, he's had a goal per game in the VHL, which is still pretty impressive to see. But you compare that to what Conor Bedard is doing, I think Conor Bedard could easily be at least a 2-point per game in the WHL right now. You compare it to what Adam Fantilli is doing, having better production than Jack Eichel in his draft year, which Jack Eichel by itself was unbelievable. And Leo Carlsson, who's up there at one of the best SHL producers in his draft year ever. That is just historic. And to me, for players like Matvei Michkov, for players like Zach Benson, Brayden Yager, who hope to be in maybe the top 3 of this class, to me, if the production of these 3 guys continues, there's no doubt that that will likely be the top 3 when it's all said and done. A mixture of Conor Bedard, Adam Fantilli, and Leo Carlsson. And you look at Matvei Michkov in this year, of course, in the VHL, 4 goals, 1 assist, 5 points in 4 VHL games, which I think is still impressive, but considering how little Michkov has played up to this point, of course, the injury that he had a couple months ago and having to deal with that, it's obviously turned into not a slow start, because I still think he's played okay, but maybe not as dominant as you'd like to see, and especially considering Adam Fantilli, what he's doing against strong competition in the NCAA, what Leo Carlsson is doing against pretty much the best competition you can have outside the NHL, besides, I guess, the KHL and the SHL, and Conor Bedard doing as well as he has. To me, the top 3 might just be locked up at this point, and especially if these guys continue, it'll be that 3-horse race right to the very end, and I cannot wait to see how it develops. Do teams prefer Leo Carlsson? Do teams prefer Adam Fantilli? It'll be a huge race to keep an eye on. But that'll be it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and comment down below. What do you guys think of Conor Bedard's season so far, Leo Carlsson's, Adam Fantilli's? How would you rank it? Do you have them as your top 3? Would you have Carlsson over Fantilli, Fantilli over Carlsson? Are they in the race for that number 1 spot with Conor Bedard? Do you think they could get there? Let me know your thoughts down below. And of course, share the video with your friends. Get it to all the hockey fans you guys know online, because this is some pretty important draft eligible stuff. And of course, click on this card for all my hockey prospects talk right in one playlist. My name is Nathan, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.